What section of the crowd do we call our fans? Dortmund have the yellow wall. Are we the yellow and blue wall? That's kind of lame, is it?
So you walk out the tunnel, you see the yellow and blue flares, you hear the drums. What do you say? You say, look, the ultra nonces are here.
Yeah, ultra nonces. Yeah, the ultra nonces. That'd be cool if we ever had a live show. You could have the ultras in the ultra section, and then the other people who pay for tickets can just be in the normal section. That'd be cool. Think people would go
Doing
for
a
that?
live podcast, and there's flares and people rattling.
The shirts off, rat in the cage, and we have riot police like battering them the whole through the show.
And we're just like, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win in the Champions League?
So tell me, Robbie Keane or Evan Ferguson, who's a better striker? I'm like, yeah. Well, look, if you want to get free access or early access to those ultra tickets when we one day do a live show, we'll give preference to who's a subscriber longer. How about that? So you got to get in early if you want to be part of that in some time in the future. How's that for an incentive?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we're talking about Champions League. We're talking about Chelsea, Tottenham, not quite the Battle of the Bridge. We're talking about Europa League, Europa Conference League. We got it all covered in this episode. Here's a little snippet of kind of, just a taste of what the show's like. I mean, the general kind of vibe, see if you
in case you're wondering, what the hell does this sound like?
Yeah. Well, I wonder what they're going to sound like on this episode. This is what it is. This is what it sounds like. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a No Nonsense Podcast, Ultra Edition, Champions League week again. It's maybe the best Champions League in the history of the competition. Well, I think it's probably safe to say that now, is it?
It's getting annoying now, I think.
Okay, negative take on it. Let's see where this goes.
Where it's just a case of like, I can't keep track of what's happening in each of the games. Normally when we do an episode, it's like, okay, in this game, this big thing happened. Nothing happened in this one, big thing happened. Every Champions League game is more insane than the last. There's like 5 goals in each of them, 4 goals in each of them. It's always chaos. It's been like that all across Europe now. It's just in time for them to change it all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe that is maybe annoying that if this does continue on in the way it has, that they think that'd be changed somehow and ruin it would be annoying. But also, we usually forget one of the 2 main things that happened. And people are like, I can't believe they didn't talk about that major thing. Now no one would even, expect us to remember everything. There's so many major things happening. And it keeps us on our toes, Will. It keeps us thinking, okay, I got to remember all these things. So it's probably best for us. But yeah, if it was to change and be ruined, that would be quite annoying. Great time for the nostalgia merchants, though. A golden era coming up for them if this does get changed around.
Yeah, there'll be 16-year-olds across the world tweeting about how much better it was in 2024 in 3 years' time.
Yeah, you don't know how good Prime Nabry was. He would cook this generation.
I see that a good bit now where I always see, it's like a meme where a lot of people are like, 2016 was the best year of my life. We've gotten so old now that even the best years of people's life isn't 2012 anymore.
I know, yeah, 2016 when things were simpler, I was like, what?
Well, it was tough then.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for a while now, actually. But this was a good week for football, the real winner this week. We had the first big game, Bayern versus Real Madrid. I think people kind of expect Real Madrid to go on and win this competition. They're probably the favourites left in it. But as we've seen over the last few weeks, Bayern are still a pretty good team with some really good players.
Yes, they are. I think we had it as the title 2 weeks ago. Bayern are still Bayern. It doesn't matter what happens behind the scenes or how they're going in the league. They're still a fucking Bayern Munich, and they still have Bayern Munich's team. Yeah.
And they were like very much on top at the start, knocking on the door. And it was very strange watching on TNT because I think it was Fletch who was like, I think Real Madrid have seemed to weather the Bayern storm. And then like almost instantly, Toni Kroos puts Vinicius 2 and they score with their first shot on target. And like an absolute sucker punch for any team. But Bayern managed to stay in the game and come back. No thanks to Kim Min-jae, Will, at the heart of my one name only team, and also at the heart of both goals, according to Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah. Tuchel also, you would forget, because they're going well in the Champions League now, you'd forget that he's on the way out of there soon.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of talk now. I've seen him linked with the Man United job a good bit, and also I've seen him linked with the Chelsea job again, which
never go back. That's the ultimate never go back, surely.
So yeah, now it's a case of like, wow, we would do well to get this Tuchel in at any of these clubs, whereas a month ago it was like, this guy can't even win a game with Bayern Munich.
That would be hilarious to see Thomas Tuchel and Lukaku back at Chelsea next season.
Have they never learned?
But yeah, he read through Kim under the bus. Did you see his comments?
No, I actually didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, I got the quotes right here, Will. Kim was too greedy twice. That's what I would call it.
Too greedy 2 times.
He was too greedy. He made the first move too early against Vinicius for the first goal. He was caught by the movement, the short movement from Vinicius, and was actually in full sprint himself before the pass was played by Toni Kroos. That was far too greedy, of course, and unfortunately he was caught on the counter-attack. For the second, it's slightly different. We outnumbered them 5 against 2. There was no need to defend so aggressively, and he's too greedy there too. He's suddenly on the outside of Rodrigo, the striker turns, and at that moment, when Eric Dyer wants to help him, he brings him down. Basically, he wants too much. He was greedy in these actions and was unfortunately punished by the quality.
Wow.
So I think he was greedy. I think the word he wants to really emphasize there, he's a greedy little boy.
He's a greedy little boy. Too greedy. He went too early. It happened too much.
He was doing that a lot, though. He was kind of like man-marking Vinicius and kept getting done on like the cutback.
Yeah.
So Vinicius would run out and then he'd like trying to stick tight to him, and then, Vinicius in behind him. He did that a couple times, and just had another chance there in the second half. So I don't know. Like, did Thomas Tuchel say to him at halftime, "You're being too greedy," and he kept doing it, or what?
It must be, because normally that's the type of thing where, as you're watching the game, you're like, Tuchel needs to make a change here. Whatever he told Kim, it's not working. This tactic's not working. But yeah, for a manager to be so specifically throw a player under the bus, he must have said, "Hey, stop doing that, please," and he kept doing it.
But then again, he didn't bring on Meccano or De Ligt, who's on the bench.
Yeah.
So if you say to a player at halftime, "Stop man-marking them," do it, don't do that. Then he does it, and you have 2 centre backs on the line. You go, let's see how this plays out. Maybe he'll listen to me in the second half of the second half.
He's definitely learned his lesson by now.
And the second one, I mean, he was very close to Rodrigo. He got turned on him, and I think he's being a bit unfair there. He's saying like Eric Dyer was right there. He was just about to come in and help, but only because you held him up. If you hadn't fouled him, he was past you and Eric Dyer, and he would have put that ball in the goal anyway. So I mean, yeah, it wasn't the best night for Kim. But I mean, I think this is why things have broken down in Bayern. Like you say, people think he's a great manager now, but I mean, man management doesn't seem to be his forte here. As we saw with Lukaku at Chelsea and all that. So I mean, it was a real throwing under the ball. Like to say like you were greedy 3 times and say you're at fault for both the goals. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the type of thing as well where it's like, well, why would Kim? I get the idea of like, you're trying to, he rile him up. He'll show me next time. The next time around, he'll really prove me wrong. But it does feel like, especially when you're on the way out, why would Kim be arsed doing anything for you ever again after you've come out publicly and been like, we lost because of what he did specifically twice?
Well, we can tell if it's that kind of reverse psychology. I'll show you if he plays him next week. If he drops him for De Ligt or Meccano, it's like, he was just having a go and wanted to let everyone know.
Really
I dropped
angry.
him.
Now it makes sense.
I'm dropping because of the things he did. And here are the things that went out on the great detail why he did wrong. He went short. He came back. He shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I don't know what the tactic is. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's high level stuff. He's trying to trick him into playing well for him. But I don't know. It seemed a bit weird just on how the game went.
Yeah.
Leroy Sané on the other side. I mean, Vinicius had a great game, of course, scoring both the goals. Leroy Sané had Mendy in hell all game.
Yeah. His goal was amazing. It came out of nowhere. It was just a bolt. Like a shot from like the side, kind of not outside the box, but like over to the side. But the commentator said that's his first goal since October 28. And I thought, how? No wonder they're not doing well in the league. He's unbelievable and he can't score.
Well, it's very obvious what he's going to do. You know, he's got to get the ball, run at you, shift onto the left, and lash in at the near post.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few things there that you think if that was Courtois on goal, maybe would have saved it at the near post.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, yeah, first goal since October does say a lot about where Bayern maybe are in the league. But he was running at them. Not the first player to be, in trouble with Stan. We saw Arsenal had real trouble with them. Rodrigo was kind of coming back and helping, but I mean, he just kind of got walked around a bit. It wasn't really much help. He was killing on that side, and they had Musiala on the other. He won the penalty against our boy Vasquez. Will I don't know if he's showing how good that experience was there. That was killer.
Yeah, he flew too close to the sun. He's performed too well, and now he's a first team player, a starter in his contract year, and now the pressure's on.
Yeah, you don't want to be starting against Musiala when you're fighting for a contract. That was not a good penalty to give away. Bayern had a lot of pace. They were running at them. A lot of experience, of course, as well. Kane has his new stutter step penalty. I mean, pretty good timing for the Euros to come in to have this new penalty because everyone knows he goes left, he lashes it in the corner. Now he's doing something new. You got to admire him for that.
Yeah, it's a good tactic to, especially going into the Euros. Now, if he misses the penalty, if he just hits it into the corner or tries to send the keeper the wrong way, that's one thing. It was what made his miss in the World Cup so bad, I think, was that it skied over the bar. And you thought, he lost his head. Yeah. It wasn't. He was just lashing it and he hit it too hard. But yeah, I think this is a much more calm approach to the penalty, which should serve him well in the internationals.
Yeah, I guess he used to lash in the corner every time, so people kind of knew, okay, I just got to dive early to one of the sides. Whereas now he's convinced people that, I wait for the goalie to move. So if you're the goalie, you want to play chicken with them. He goes, okay, right, I'll wait the last minute to jump. And then he lashes in the corner again. He won't get close. Yeah. So I mean,
top level stuff.
It's really smart stuff. Top level stuff. Top bagsman, Harry Kane. Someone who is also hopefully going to play for England in the Euros for English people. Jude Bellingham will, and I'm sure these England fans have seen this before. A star player with the country's hope resting on his shoulders, starting to look a bit wrecked maybe at the end of the year.
Yeah, this is the problem with star players. They're relied upon all season, and then the international tournament is after the season.
Yeah, he scored 13 in his first 19, and everyone's like, wow, this guy is like Zidane and Ronaldo in one. He scored 4 in the last 16 games, which is still a lot of goals to score as a kind of attacking midfielder. He hasn't scored any goals in the Champions League outside the group stage. So that says there's been a clearer second half of the season syndrome here where it's I don't even think that's the thing. I think it's second season syndrome, not second half of the season syndrome. But
he's been figured out. It's all over.
One and a half season wonder, Jude Bellingham. Yeah, but the thing is, I remember the last round against City. Remember his first touch for the goal that they scored, and everyone's fawning over, oh my god, look at you, Bellingham, it's so good, And then now it's is he a fraud? I think is he finished? I think it's one of those things where it's it's going to be overhyped because he's English. Everything he does is going to be highs and lows. But yeah, he was taken off there for Modric, which is a great sub to come on.
Yeah, pretty handy.
Modric Kroos still doing it in Champions League in 2024 is kind of mad, to be honest.
Insane.
But I suppose that was in Bayern as well. I was in München. 2-2. I mean, I think the TNT had a win probability after the game. It was 72% Real Madrid to go through. Tough place to go, especially in the Champions League, to burn about and get results. Do you think it's going to happen for Bayern, or do Real Madrid just have too much for them?
I think they just have... I don't know, it just feels like watching them all this season. It's mad to say, but it feels like their year again. Do you know what I mean? It's just
I think this year is Madrid's year.
I don't know how they do it, but it just feels like everyone always falls at the last hurdle against them. It's like they willed wins into existence. It's insane to watch. I don't think Munich will beat them. I think Madrid are going all the way this year, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what the stats would say. I mean, it'd be hard to see this Bayern Munich team going to Real Madrid and getting a 1-0 shutout win, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's all right, job done on the final. And I just think Real Madrid will definitely score. And then it's it's the magic of the Champions League. It's the burnabout. I mean, how many Champions League ago was the Decima? I think it all started anyways. Then like the Decima, and then this kind of magic spell happened, and now they can't lose. Well, speaking of the other side, more fairy tale stuff. PSG will.
Our boys.
What a story it'd be to see PSG do it. Rivaled only by Chelsea in 2012. Two underdogs outside of the footballing elite coming to take the crown. But they have to get past Borussia Dortmund first, Will. And my boy Füllkrug, another great goal. Yeah. He can do it all. Headers, kicking the ball. I mean, sure, he missed a lot of other chances, but they're 1-up, and that's all that matters.
Judging by his face, no one was more shocked that he's scoring again in the Champions League than Füllkrug.
Yeah, I referenced that interview we did last week, where he was like, to think of my career, where it's gone, that I'm in this Champions League semi-final, it's magic, In that same interview, the reporter asked him, because this is after the Atletico Madrid 2 games, and he was like, 9 goals in 2 games. Have you ever been part of a series of that before? And Füllkrug said, this is my first year in the Champions League. Like, I looked it up, his career then. He's never played in a European competition before.
Wow.
He's never had a 2-leg. This is his first. I was like, no, this is my first time ever doing this 2-leg thing.
What age is he?
31.
Wow. That's the type of thing that, like, if we always say what actually wins games and tournaments is the narrative usually. It's going to be tough for Madrid to overcome the Füllkrug story.
Füllkrug is going to lead the line for Germany in the Euros, Maybe Kai Havertz might get their head of it, but he'll be there. He'll be on the squad, I one of the, as you know, Will, one of our friends in the group chat and listener of the show and local musician, Colin Rowland Music.
Yeah.
I said he looked a bit like Füllkrug. Which, there's a lot of different angles you can take of people, but he's a similar build.
Big guy.
But yes, someone put a pretty unflattering picture of Füllkrug into the group chat, and that kind of, weakened my point a bit. But then I went to look up my own picture of Füllkrug, and I typed in Füllkrug, and you know what came up as a suggestion? Füllkrug young. Same age as me. I was like, what? Why are people looking for? He is young. You mean Füllkrug present day? You mean why is there a suggestion for Füllkrug young? Why? You know what? I didn't even realize that he's very much our age until just this second. In my head as well, I was like, incredible that this old man is still able to do it. 31. Ew. Yuck. Hope I never get that age. Yeah, no, I didn't even look at the picture more. I just took my phone down. I was like, I just watch the game. I don't need to go on social media. Who cares?
Yeah, there's people out there Googling Cahill and Will, no nonsense, young.
Young, yeah. If we ever make it, they'll look for young pictures of us and they'll be frightened when they see that, But
they go, oh, it's in colour.
It was a great game though. The very tacking.
Yeah.
I felt like kind of both teams wanted to use their pace on the counter-attack and didn't really have a huge idea of how they were going to break the other team down, like just standing in front of them.
Yeah.
It was almost like they were kicking the ball back to each other so they could dispossess them to catch them on the break. Especially with Adeyemi and Sancho on that wing. They kept like giving the ball away and then winning it back and then they'd be away,
It was tough to watch Jadon Sancho, not just having a great game, but having a game where he was having a great game because he was trying really hard, and it really bothered me that I've never seen him track back or tackle anyone once at Man United.
Do you think they just didn't have their scouting report done? Like he kept being left one-on-one. I mean, he would sidestep someone in a phone box, you know what I mean? Like you can't be letting him one-on-one. He was just, I saw a graphic there that someone posted, or that Sky Sports posted, most successful take-ons in Champions League knockout stages. And it's basically a list of Neymar and then Jadon Sancho in the middle. It's like Neymar did this 15 times against Atalanta for PSG. He did it 15 times for Barcelona against Juve. He did 13 times for PSG against Real Madrid and 13 times for PSG against Napoli. And then Jadon Sancho also did 13 times this game. It's like, he was literally playing like Neymar out there, like going by players like that. Like, don't leave Neymar on his own. Like, don't... Like in all those teams that Neymar's playing for, he either had Messi or Mbappe also on the team that you had to worry about. So he's kind of left kind of isolated. I mean, I don't know how many times Sancho's left in that wing to just take someone on and go by them. He was incredibly impressive, but maybe, like say, it's the body language, maybe the body language of like, is he trying? Does he want to be here? I mean, I'm just wondering, are we going to see Antony ripping up in the Champions League semi-final for Napoli in like 3 years' time?
Yeah.
And be like, it was Ten Hag's fault the entire time.
Well, I did see, I don't know if you saw this, but Antony has come under even more criticism this week as he posted a throwback Thursday on Instagram of his goal against Burnley at the weekend. His one goal in the Premier League and a game they drew. So I don't know. I feel like even the attitude or like the similarities between the two, I think Antony's at a lower level than Sancho is.
Yeah, no, that's fair, I suppose. It's definitely too early for Throwback Thursday. First of all, that's
like
you got to wait
5 days, man. What are you talking about?
You have to wait at least 6 months. You can't. But yeah, just because people had kind of diagnosed the Sancho thing in many different ways, and one of them was that he lacked pace. I kept seeing that a lot. That he lacks pace. He's not fast enough for the Premier League, and people say the same about Antony. I think I saw people saying as well that it's just because Haaland was playing that Sancho was so good, which now Haaland's a League Two player. It's like all these kind of theories that like don't add up, but it's like, okay, he's not like Alphonso Davies, but Sancho didn't look slow out there. He didn't look like he was losing a yard, and this PSG, all they kind of have is pace as well. They were doing the same thing. They wanted to catch them on the counter, release Mbappe, release Barcola and Kolo Muani. Like, I just think it's very strange to see him moving like that,
But do you know what's funny? Do you know what team he would actually suit very well this season? Fucking Man United. If they were playing that like back-to-back football, no one's actually marking you, it's all counterattack, he'd be perfectly suited for that. Like,
yeah, I saw somebody ringing into. I watched a long video of people ringing into TalkSport to talk about it, and one guy's like, "Yeah, you got to ask questions of Ten Hag. Like, everyone he falls out with, Sancho, Ronaldo, Rashford. Once you're out, you're out. He doesn't seem like to bring them back in the squad. And for me, I think." Bring Sancho back in, get rid of Rashford, like in the same breath. So whose fault is it? So yeah, I really don't know. And then another guy rang in and said, Sancho didn't have a good game at all. I'd give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he can't give the ball away. He said, this just proves to me he's not good enough for the Premier League. He kept giving the ball away. He goes, and then he was like arguing over what a successful dribble was. Like, no, that wasn't a successful dribble. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at it, he doesn't have the greatest goal contributions this year, Sancho.
He's actually perfectly level with Antony since he joined Dortmund. I think it's like 2 goals, 3 assists or something like that. It's the exact same rate. But it's just that Sancho's doing it in Champions League knockout stages and Antony's doing it in 1-1 draws against Burnley. Do you know what I mean? It's when you do it, I think, that matters more so at the moment for the likes of Sancho. Well, I think another thing, it's like loads of people are obviously saying the Ten Hag thing and he fell out and this is Ten Hag's fault that he's crap and for Man United and stuff. He was bad under Ranić as well. Like he was bad predating Ten Hag ever being there.
Yeah, but I mean, Ranić was bad. I think everyone would agree with that. No?
Well, he just turned down the Bayern Munich job. Did you see that?
I see it. Yeah. Well, I don't know why they were offered to him, but I mean, there you go. He doesn't want that either. But I mean, probably because that was actually a lot of hassle, and I don't need that.
Yeah, he's probably loving life being Austrian national team manager. You
never see him being linked to anybody. There's no one. His agent isn't leaking anything on his behalf, anyways. Tell them I want to go to Real Madrid. Sell to the Sun. Tell them I want to go to Real Madrid. Like I haven't heard his name until this.
Yeah,
he's like, no, me, no. I don't. So yeah, I guess it's in PSG's court, really. I mean, a 1-0 win is not insurmountable.
No.
Especially going back to Paris. Although I don't see them keeping a clean sheet either. Like I said, I didn't see PSG controlling that game at any point or like having a lot of idea how to break the team down. They were doing the same thing, trying to catch them on the counter. So, I mean, if you're Dortmund, you're going away from home. You're not going to try and attack like you did there. PSG want you to attack so they can hit you on the counter. I mean, I could see them maybe winning like 3-1 or something. more likely I'd see it going 2-1 to PSG, and then it goes penalties, and then I don't know. It could be anybody.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one where I think Dortmund will rue their missed chances over 2 legs rather than in the one game. Because I think with the atmosphere in the stadium there against PSG and how well they were playing, I think they could have probably gotten 3, maybe like 2 or 3 goals. I don't think the 1 goal is going to be enough. I think, did you see after the game, the manager shaking hands? And PSG's manager had a big smile on his face. He's like, "Great game. I can get over this."
Yeah, I mean, I love Füllkrug, but there's a chance that he doesn't start the next game after this.
Yeah.
He missed 2 definite, really good chances. It was whipped across at him, that one, but that really would have sealed it. I think if that gone in, so I could see Sebastian Haller starting the next game. But yeah, I don't know. Should we talk about the best panel in sports, the CBS sports panel?
This is the moment they've been building up to, I think, all season. I've never seen so many clips of a 10-second interview in my life. They had the social media team on overdrive.
They were doing it all day, apparently. He was out amongst the fans in like kind of a fan zone, asking Dortmund fans before the game. And did you see him talking to the Dortmund manager before the game?
No, I only saw the Sancho interview.
He was saying that he asked the manager, can he go on the yellow wall? And they were asked about it, and can I go on the yellow wall? Can I go in? It's like, yeah, you're a grown man, I guess. Off you go.
Should you not be working?
For anybody who didn't see us, Jimmy Carragher was at the Dortmund game as an analyst for the CBS Sports Broadcasting Corporation, and he went into the yellow wall, the famous yellow wall of Dortmund. Proceeded to drink, by his own count, 8 pints. Could be more. I don't know.
He said he drank 8 pints in the wall. It's like, you had 8 stadium pints during a game. That's so much beer in an hour and a half.
I mean, how many times did he go to the bathroom? How much did the game did he watch?
Yeah. And then he's doing analysis. Like.
And then he after this, he then interviews Jadon Sancho and is very touchy-feely with them. Like, he just... Henri and Del Piero, Mika Richards are in the studio, and they are like just cringing, dying laughing and cringing. I'm like, oh God, he's going to lose his job. Like, it's like watching your friend make a show of himself on national television, I guess is what it was. And they kept saying, he keeps touching him. Get off him. Stop touching him. He kept putting his arm around Sancho and grabbing him and touching him. And then he was like, listen, Sancho, right? The one thing you haven't done this club is go on the yellow wall. You need to promise me you're going to go on the yellow wall. He's a player. They're there to watch him play. When's he going to get a chance to go on the wall? He's playing. He works for them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you have never bossed up to this shop. It's like, I work in this shop. Yeah, but I've never seen you walk down the aisles in your normal clothes. It's like just absolute kind of drunk mentality. And then he was like, right, after this though, right, we're going to get a pint, aren't we? You and me are going to get a pint. And Tom's like, well, don't drink, professional athlete and all that. So, like, you don't drink? What? It was literally like an hour that in after a game. It was awful to watch, to be honest. But I mean, it was pretty funny, but I'd say he probably has a fear. Sure, he has some kind of fear, no?
But also, it was enjoyable to watch. It was very funny. But it also, I couldn't help stop the voice in my head. They're just like, they have a drunk man on TV doing analysis. They don't care at all.
Yeah, the punditry landscape really has changed over the last few years, hasn't it? I mean, it's like, before I become like, this is bad and they're not professional. But honestly, that sounds sweet, man. That, like, imagine getting paid probably hundreds of thousands of euros
definitely.
to get drunk on television,
Yeah, what a few months he's had on the panel. Remember a few months ago when he said to your one Kate Abdo that she was cheating on her husband?
That wasn't that long ago at all. He must feel absolutely bulletproof. Whatever contract he has must be ironclad.
Well, if he got away with that, he's probably like, I'm going to go on the piss. What are they going to do? Sack me? This isn't half as bad as that thing I said a few weeks ago.
Like, honestly, if he's there mixing with the fans before the game, and he goes in the yellow wall, like, that's good. That's real journalism. You're getting in there amongst this. You're getting down with the people. There's no need to drink 8 pints, though. I mean, I'd say
he could have had 4.
2 pints. Okay, 4.
8 is so many. Imagine he puked on TV.
Like, honest to God, after 6, I am struggling. I am like, that's the limit of where I'm remembering how much beer I drank and you know, how stable I'm coming. Because Kate Abdo said, "Are you sober enough to do this?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I am," you know. And then he starts talking about it. I had a cheeseburger about 2:30. And Schmeichel's like, "Do the people need to know that, Jamie?" He was like, "Of course they do. They want to know I'm slurring my words."
Yeah, it was the burger.
They need to know the full story. And then he's like, call over Sancho. Come on, get over here. Come on. And everyone's just like laughing at him. It's impressive. Like, say, after the few weeks that he had. What else do we have then? We had some Europa League, as we said. There was some mystery teams to be covered, Will. Pretty much the same. You know, pretty much the same. But we're talking about stuff that happened recently. So I guess it's kind of like the same as the other episode, but it's more of the same. But people say more of the same kind of sounds bad. This is actually good.
Yeah, more of the same is good. If you like something, you want more of it.
Yeah, much for muchness, but again, in a good way, you know.
All the same, yeah.
Same shit, different day, again, in a positive sense. Yeah, you can become an ultra. You can join the ravenous ultras, growing by the day, growing by the week, to be fair. $4.50 a month. There's a link in the description of this episode. Get on board now. We got next week's Champions League coming up, the second legs. We got the final, of course. We got probably the FA Cup as well. Loads of different stuff happening. And of course, the Euros then coming a few weeks from now, really. It's all catching up. So if you want to get on board, it's a great time to do so. We'll be there all summer long and right into next season. So yeah, we'd love to have you there. If you like this episode, give us a 5-star review or a comment or whatever. If you don't like the episode, same thing. You know, let us know what we're doing wrong. You know, and we can tell you to fuck off. You know, it's our show. How dare you, actually?
We're allowed comment too.
You comment, we'll comment back. You know, it's a free market out there. Freedom of speech, whether you like it or not.
So yeah, comment if you dare.
If you dare. I bet you won't. I bet you won't. No, it's all good. Do what you want. We will see you Monday or Tuesday. We'll be covering the exciting run-in for the Premier League. Or can City do it? Who knows? We'll have to see, and we'll give our reaction when they may or may not do it. They definitely will do it. But yeah, we'll see you Monday, Tuesday for that, and of course, as I say, extra episode Champions League next week as well. So yeah, that's about it. Will, anything else to say?
No, it's just if anyone wants to. We're coming up to the Champions League final, so if you want to, go into the backlog and binge the whole Champions League, you can do that.
Yeah, find out our hot takes from the rest of the year, because I don't.
We do 2 shows a week. I can't remember anything anymore.
We work so hard, don't we, Will? God, we work so hard.
We're so good at this.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon. Best luck.